And I got a question for the everyone else that's on has had children. I've had a grandchild, and Tom, I think that when you have children, Sammy, and he's talking about the intelligence of young people. Think of your own kids, whether it's sport and whether we've parented or coached them to their capacity. Are we ready to coach, like Al says, to use the Socrates method, so to speak? Sammy, what do you think? Because I'm sure the wheels are turning in that wonderful brain of yours.
Well, I think kids teach you exactly as an adult what you probably need to learn at a certain time in your life. I think the hardest thing for us, for my husband Billy, um, and I, who are such passionate hockey players, is that it's not her passion and she has other passions, and allowing her to flourish in who she is as a person. Um, so at times that's a struggle because you want to impart all of your knowledge and all of your expertise into this young person, but they become their own person. And so, you know, that is sometimes I think a struggle. And I think that's the hardest thing for me is that to not necessarily have a shared passion like that, but to try to pick up her passions. And my parents were not hockey people, and so it's made me realize how grateful I am to them for allowing me to pursue my passions and not pushing me into certain areas. So yeah, we took her to the Leafs game last night, and she was up dancing and just so excited about all the dancing that was going on. And she drew a picture of her new friend Jordan that she met at the game. And I mean, all the other aspects that go into sport. So we just want to keep her healthy and active. And she's super into rock climbing and other things now that non-competitive. And she always asks me, Mommy, why do you want to win all the time? And I say, well, I think there's something wrong with me. I don't know. There's something wrong with me. But yeah, I'll let others talk because it is certainly a journey, and one that is new every single day for sure.
Well, Sammy, that might not last forever.
It might not, or it might. People tell me all the time.
My granddaughter was the same. She just did individual stuff. She did martial arts and track and all this kind of stuff. And then got into grade 10, all of a sudden she started playing rugby. And she loved being on a team, and now she's playing at St. Avex. And
yeah, my daughter loves being around other kids and loves sort of the team aspect of it, loves the before and loves the after. I told her when she wasn't playing this year that Mommy and her still get to go skating once a week, so she enjoys that. And she just as much loves in her skates climbing the snowbanks at the side and making up her own game that's going on. And so yeah, who knows? But you're right, Tom. It might not last, but it might last. And some people say to me, oh, my daughter didn't like it till she was 12, or my daughter didn't like it till such and such age. And so trying not to force it, and just so now I dabble in all my friends' practices, and I do about once a week with various different kids teams, helping the goalies and injecting some fun into their practice. Doing Dancing Island and fun things like that. So it's almost like being a grandparent because you get to do all the fun things and then you give them back to the real coaches.
I got Cassie comes out regular. We coached together last year, and then her daughter's an affiliate, so she comes out quite regular. And last week she was at practice, and she's really good on the ice and really good with the girls, which is a real bonus to us.
Yeah, she's a lot of fun.
Well, Sammy, I'm still waiting for you to come out to mine, but it's a long haul to get out.
Tell me when. I'm ready.
Oh my God. So yeah. I have two daughters playing, as everyone knows. One just turned 6 today. It's her birthday, and a 7-year-old. And the 7-year-old is exactly me with edges. So she's much better skater than me. But like everything, Sammy, is identical. She's so competitive. So just a snippet. Last night we do 5-puck, the breakaway one the goalies love/hate, where you have to score the 5 pucks before the kids at the other end score, which is hilarious with U9s because like they deke, like when they're right on top of the goalie, they shoot it into the corner. It's great. I think it's more fun for us coaches than the players. But we had 8 players on one color and only 6 on the other color. So my daughter was on the team with 8, so I traded her to make it 7 and 7. That's fast math for you there, Sammy. And so I trade her. They play 3 rounds, and the team I trade her to loses every time. Like close, last puck. She's the last shooter 2 of those times. She is crying after practice, like, Mommy, why did you trade me? The team that you traded me to lost every single time. And I was like, well, you should have shot more. Maybe you should have hit the net. And I was like, this is my kid for sure, 100%. I don't care that she's crying. She like is so competitive. Everyone else on her team's like, yay, like practice is done. She's like, like can't stand it. So I don't know where she'll end up, but I do think, going to the PWHL games, like we went to the 6 games and all of that, she now watches and asks me, like, can I do that one day? Do you think I could do that one day? And I'm like, please watch Jocelyn Larocque and Renata Fast as much as humanly possible. Like, those are the players. Watch them. Don't watch anyone else. She's a D so far, so we'll see. But my youngest, Sami, who just turned 6 today, playing U9 House League. So she's playing with girls older than my daughter, right? So they just combined the House League to the whole age group. They're in a tournament last weekend, which I have many thoughts about, not many of which were positive, but they had fun. And they got to the 4th game. So they won the 3rd game by some like miracle, like gloves in the air, ridiculous. My daughter was playing out, but she desperately wanted to play goalie. She's 5 years old, right? So there's 9-year-olds on the team. She really wants to play. They win in the morning. She really wants to play. And so we let her play. But they had won in the morning with like a 9-year-old in net, and like who actually made sense. And she goes in there, and we're playing a House League team with like rep jerseys and their names on the back, like a kid who can raise it on her backhand. Amazing. Don't know the score because they run time after 5, which I don't really agree with in House League tournament, but maybe just stop showing the score, but don't run the time. We got pumped like for sure 20-0, Sammy. For sure 20-0. Like it was running time after 4 minutes into the first. I've never seen running time so quickly in my life. And my daughter loved it. I'm like, oh, she might be a goalie. She loved it. She was so excited. She's like, how did I do, Mommy? I was like, yeah. She made some saves, mostly like of the variety where you just like lie down on the ice and stick your legs out. And then she was like sticking her stick in the air to like cover more.
That's how
I was like,
play,
oh,
too.
I might have a goalie.
I love it.
It's such a treat. But, coaching your own kids, of course, is an adventure. And I don't know where they'll end up with it. But for me, the presence of, people like Sami, coming out to your practice. I mean, like, can you imagine? Right. And then being able to watch these women play. And, we went and watched York University play the other day, and I've got 4 former players on these teams. Like, I just feel so fortunate to be where I am and have these female role models for my daughters and my son as well, who comes to the games, pretends he has no idea what's happening, and then is like, oh, that was a nice forecheck. He's never played hockey. I'm like, how do you know that? But it, to me, being able to see these strong, powerful women and just have my whole family there, all 3 of my kids there. I mean, that to me is the value in what they're doing in sport. And if they decide they want to do whatever, like they can tag me in and we can start training for it. But yeah, Sami, you might have to send my youngest out to you. She's an interesting bird. She might just be a goalie.
Listen, I want to just stay on this a little bit longer about the idea of your kids and what they're going to do and what they're going to choose. I really appreciate the point you made, Sami. And I'm curious, Greg, you have kids, and I don't know whether they play hockey or they're old enough or they're too young yet, but all
too
of
young
us
yet.
are too young.
8 months.
You're going to be scratching your head if they aren't interested in hockey. All of mine have played ice sports, ringette, with all my girls growing up, but all played different sports. And the idea of them choosing to do in their lives what they want to do is really important. And I think there's some parents out there that force them to do something they don't necessarily want to do. And they're trying to please their parents. And I can't imagine the strain that must be on the relationship when you're just doing something like that. And I don't know, Sami, if you can add something to that and whether you've encountered it or not, or how do you handle it when you see it happening?
You're right, Wally. It's tough. I mean, it's my daughter played for 3 years, and her first 2 years, she had Jennifer Bottrell and Adrian Lamonaco, her husband, coaching. I mean, these are two of the best coaches in the entire world. And then her final year, we moved her over to just all girls, and thought maybe that was kind of the issue. And so my husband, Billy Bridges, who's a sledge hockey player, and I coached, and we were on the ice. And we are all about fun and all about making it exciting for all the other, for everyone. And we were certainly not hard on her or anything, but it is really hard to see them when they don't love it. And, she told us so many times over those 3 years, but we thought, I think like so many parents, oh, eventually they'll like it if they just can learn to skate. And then she learns to skate, and it's not her thing. So when she came to us in the summer and she said, Mommy, I really don't want to play hockey. I said back to her, I think not rightly, but I said, Mommy really loves coaching, and I love the U9 level, and that's just, my bread and butter. And I said, will you just play one more year of house league, because Mommy really loves it. And she turned to me and she said, for you, Mommy, I'll play. And I thought exactly the wrong reason. It really stopped me dead in my tracks and made me realize, like, she is simply playing for me. And so when she does rock climbing, or she does gymnastics, she does karate, her face lights up and she gets excited to go, and she puts on her own equipment and her own stuff. And that just wasn't the case in hockey. And I truly do think that hockey took Mom and Dad away a lot in her childhood. And so it doesn't necessarily have the best connotations. So who knows, maybe she'll come back to it at some point. But there is such a joy when you see your child do something they love. And so I really encourage all parents that, maybe are struggling with it, that it is okay that they step away from the game. And if they're telling you, I think it's important that when kids make a commitment, that they see it right through to the end, and that you don't take them out halfway unless there's huge issues. But they commit to it at the end, and then they replace it with something else that is fit and active, because I think it's really important for kids to be fit and active, and to be busy and learn all the important skills that sport can teach us. But it will certainly take us in different journeys in different directions. And with only one too, we only have an only child, and sometimes all eyes are on her as well. So it's different when you have a harem like Kim has, where they're all running around free and wild, and get to kind of choose the things they want. But with one, you're always asking those questions, and I think listening is so important. So that's my recommendation, is to, allow them the chance to do everything, but listen when they are telling you what they want to pursue.
Wise words, Sami. Thank you.